That's right. That's a big effort.
Yeah, Kaya is making a return engagement.
I know, Kaya.
Hey, Doug. Yeah, Alice.
Hi. Yes, I heard about your captain,
Yeah, I hear you're
Andrew's.
taking a
Yeah,
visit across
yeah.
the country. Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm very excited. So trying to figure it all out, but yeah, I'm sure that's hard on you guys. He's great. So,
yeah. He's
but I
still
bet
helping.
he's not out of the picture forever. It's Andrew, so he can't sit still.
Right.
Yeah, awesome. Well, shall we get started, Doug? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to see you and have a little kind of refresher for some of you and an update for others about the UNOLS and what it's about. We thought we'd start real quickly doing some introductions around the Zoom room, just so for those of you who are not familiar, who we are. So I'll quickly start. I'm Doug Russell. I'm with the UNOLS office in Seattle, and glad to have you here, Alice.
I'm Alice Doyle. I'm with the UNOLS office also. I'm not actually in Seattle, but
I
the
thought I
office
saw
is out of
Doug
Seattle.
talking,
So,
but I can't hear anything.
oh, we can
Huh,
hear you and we can hear Doug.
you've got
Can
your Doug
you
filter on.
can you hear me, Angel?
I don't think she can.
Uh,
Can other folks hear us?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Did she leave and come back? I think she might have left.
I think she did, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm Alice Doyle. I'm also with the UNOLS office. Tara, you want to go ahead?
Sure, yeah, I'm Tara Clementi, and I'm with the UNOLS office based out of Florida, the technical services manager. And I'll pass it to Doug Ricketts.
I'm Doug Ricketts. I'm the Marine Superintendent for the Research Festival of Blue Heron, the University of Minnesota Duluth, and I'm also chair of RVOC.
Great. Let's just move it down. I guess Dominic Cardell.
Yes. Hi, I'm Dominic Cardell. I'm the new industry representative on the committee since December, and I'm currently with Log Exploration, which just got bought by Harbor Energy.
Oh, wow. Great. Thanks. Angel, are you here now? Don't hear. Brandy? Okay. Bruce is here. Bruce, go for it.
Sorry, can you hear me? I'm trying to
I
switch
can.
from my cell phone over to my computer, but I'm here and
Go
I
for
can
it,
hear you.
Brandy.
So my name is Brandy Keel Reese, new member of my institution's a new member of UNOLS, and I'm with the Dauphin Island Sea Lab and the University of South Alabama. And so I'm here as the representative, and I believe we have Jeff Kraus, who is my alternate.
Great. Thanks, Brandy.
Thanks.
Bruce Applegate.
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm Bruce Applegate. I'm the Associate Director at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, in charge of ship operations and marine technical support there. And I'm also the current chair of the UNOS Council.
Thanks, Bruce. How about Catherine O'Reilly?
Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine O'Reilly. I'm the director of the Large Lakes Observatory at the University of Minnesota Duluth. I started there about a year ago.
Great. Welcome. Eric Grubel. If you're muted, if you're speaking, Eric. Okay, we'll move on. Rod Johnson.
Hi everyone, I'm Rod Johnson. I'm a scientist here at ASU, Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences. I've been here for 37 years and I'm sitting in for Craig Carlson today.
Nice to see you, Rod.
Nice to see you, Alice.
All right, Gabrielle.
You making fun of me?
Oh, Gabe. Sorry, I didn't see the last name. Gabe, go ahead.
I'm Gabe
Go ahead, Gabe.
Mathias. I get Gabriel when I'm in trouble. I'm the science ops manager for the Sekuliak and RV Tech chair elect under Sarah.
Great. Thanks for coming, Gabe. Jamie Anderson.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Anderson. I
Thank you,
lead
Scott.
marine operations at Michigan
Okay.
Tech's Great Lakes Research Center.
Great. Thanks,
Cheers.
Jamie.
Thanks.
Kaya Johnson.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kai Johnson. I'm the Director of Marine Operations at MBARI, or the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, and I'm the UNOLS representative for our group.
Great. Thanks, Kaya. Good to see you again. Jeff Krause.
I'm Jeff Krause. Like Brandy Keel-Reese, I'm from Dauphin Island Sea Lab and University of South Alabama, and we're new, so it's exciting to be here.
It's great. And where are you?
I'm in Dauphin Island, but this is on Sekuliak that I took 9 years ago with my GoPro.
Oh.
It's to be the best background shot ever. Everybody, if you look here, there's the folks. Yeah, you can see them not moving, but I love
That's pretty good.
Russ Hopcroft is in the back there, you know.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you. Layla.
Hey everybody, Layla Hamden. I'm at the University of Southern Mississippi. I'm our Associate VP for Research at the university. We have Research Vessel Point Sur, and I'm the PI for RV Mason, the third RCRV coming online. And I'm a brand new council member.
Okay, welcome, Layla. Doug Ricketts. Did we get you, Doug?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you did. Yeah.
Okay, Rob Munier.
Hi, Rob Munier. Good afternoon, everybody. Rob Munier, Vice President for Marine Operations, Woods Hole Oceanographic, and I'm also WHOI's representative to UNOLS.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for coming. Sarah Fuller.
Hi, I work for Rob. I'm the shipboard science services manager here at WHOI, and I'm also the chair for the Research Vessel Technical Enhancement Committee, or RVT.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. Sean Arellano.
Hi, I am Sean Ariano. I'm a professor at Western Washington University. I am new on the desk committee. I actually have no idea if Western is part of UNOLS. Probably not. Are they?
Well, I think you are. I believe so.
All right, Stephanie Martinenko.
I'm also with the UNOLS office, specialize in marine facilities planning. So if you have any problems, I'm to blame and you can hit me.
No.
Not true. All right, Stephen Picken.
Good afternoon, everybody. I apologize. I just got over sickness with my voice.
Sorry.
I am I am a vessel captain for Monmouth University, new member over here in New Jersey.
Great. Awesome. Hope you're feeling better soon. Tammy Richardson, wonderful to see your name again.
Hi there. It's nice to see some familiar faces. I'm Tammy Richardson. I'm at the University of South Carolina, and I guess I'm here as our institutional rep. Really, I'm here because Claudia Benitez Nelson told me I had to be, but I'm just kidding. I'm happy. Claudia and I, we sort of tag team this, I think. So anyway, nice to see you.
It's great to see you again. Victoria Preston.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Victoria. I'm an assistant professor of engineering at Olin College in Eden, Mass, and I'm a new member of the desk committee.
Great, thank you. Folks that we forgot. Eric, I know I didn't get you. Go ahead. Eric G.
Oh, hey, Eric Grubel, University of Rhode Island, tech manager here, also on the FIC, do some UNOLS side work.
Jack of all trades. Great, thanks, Eric. Angel, can we hear us? Are we together yet?
Yep, I think we're together.
Awesome, yay.
Aloha. Sorry for the echo. Let me see if I can turn this one off. There we go. Maybe not. I'm a University boy. I know many of you. Good to see you. I will meet the second one.
Okay, did we forget anybody else? I tried to get everyone.
Hi,
If we did, speak up.
I'm
Sorry, Dan, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm Dan Anonymous. I'm a member rep from University of Georgia Skidaway Institute. And I'm recently on the UNOS Council. I'm an
Yes.
associate professor here as of today.
Oh, lovely. Congratulations.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Did we forget anybody else?
Maria.
Oh, Maria.
Hello,
Go ahead,
everyone.
Maria.
I'm Maria Shadach with the UNOLS office, and I'm manager of the May internship program.
Great. Thanks, Maria. So thanks for everyone for being here. This is something we try to put on every year or so, but it's been a couple years since we've done this. It's try to give people a background of what UNOLS is, right? You sign up for these committees, and often you might know about your specific committee, but you don't know how that fits into the whole picture and why UNOLS is here and the importance of our community. So we appreciate you taking the hour to be here. I can say that scientists that have been around for a long time have come to this and said, wow, I learned a lot in this hour. So it may not be for your day job, but it's interesting and putting your committee work into perspective and you as a UNOLS member into perspective. So we are going to start a PowerPoint presentation. Doug, I think you're on first, right?
Sure.
Let me get going and share my screen. Share, oh, hold on one second. Let's go to here. Use presenter view, all these things you have to do to make it work right. There we go. Now everybody can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
So we're gonna start by just touching on the history briefly, to kind of put it all in perspective. UNOLS has been around for 55 years now. It was created in 1971, the University National Oceanographic Laboratory System, and basically it's working together to coordinate ship schedules and shared research facilities. That was like the driver for all this to begin with. Where are we at? Next slide, Alice. Second slide.
Yeah, I think I take over now. Yeah. So what is UNOLS other than a whole mouthful of words to say, right? University National Oceanographic Laboratory System. It's a consortium of academic institutions joined together to coordinate the ship scheduling and the research facilities. And so why was UNOLS created? And this is what Doug was saying. It's been 55 years now. So it was back in the 60s, mid 60s or so, and they call it the golden era of oceanography, when scientific labs were popping up and ships were popping up everywhere, and there were loads of ships and new labs. And so, but the problem was there were ships in certain places, but those investigators from those non-operating institutions were really struggling to get ship time, even though we had all these ships. The federal agencies were starting to get worried because they're supporting all these ships, but there wasn't any coordination. So 2 ships were going to the Med at once, and they could have, combined these cruises, things like that. They had differing modes of operations, different levels of safety, lack of consistency across all boards. So there was concerns by the federal agencies. The operators were also really concerned because these ship costs were rising and they saw new ships popping up and they're like, oh, are we going to have support? Or are we not going to have support, right? So, and then finally, of course, there's no centralized scheduling. So everyone was operating in their own little vacuum, right? So what happened? In the, late 60s-ish, the government created the Stratton Commission. And in 1969, they came out with their Stratton Commission report. And this recommended the forming of NOAA and also the Sea Grant Foundation. And then they also recommended forming the National Oceanographic Laboratory System to run all these vessels. And so the operating institution said, wait a second here. We agree with the goals of this organization, but we really do not want to be under the federal control. So there was a lot of back and forth, kind of some heated conversations about how we would proceed. And thanks to some of the big operating institutions, they really got through to the government. And so they all decided to create what they put a university in front of it and called it the University National Oceanographic Laboratory System. which the goals are creating community-wide ship access, right? Cooperative ship scheduling, standardized operations, and uniform funding arrangements. And so they said, okay, we will do all this under one big centralized UNOLS, right, framework. So some key, we do have a very large charter if you want to fall asleep quickly at night. It's on our website, and it's pretty dry, but it was officially adopted in 1971. We do make changes throughout the years, and there's procedures for doing all these things, very official. We started with only 17 operating institutions and 33 ships. And at the beginning, they focused on ship scheduling, investigator placement, and then kind of standardizing a lot of the different operations. And then then it expanded, and we've added a lot of non-operator institutions there. And we've also increased responsibility. And so first it was looking at fleet replacement with the Fleet Improvement Committee, and then developing science mission requirements, and then other kind of science specialized committees. So what is it today? We're up to 61, consortium of 61 different institutions. 14 operating institutions, 18 ships, and then we have our national facilities, a deep submergence facility. I'll get into these a little bit. The aircraft facility, the National Oceanographic Seismic Facility, and all of these different facilities and ships are owned by the federal agencies or by the individual institutions. The UNOLS community has an elected council and 8 major committees, and then we have the UNOLS office, which I say is kind of like creates the conduit between all of these different committees and the different institutions. And then we're kind of the umbrella or the gel that holds us all together. What are our goals? To promote broad and coordinated access, support continuous improvement of these facilities, and then plan and foster support for the oceanographic facilities of the future. And then, of course, every good organization needs a vision statement. And so our vision is a healthy and vigorous United States research and education program that has broad access and a mix of modern and capable and well-operated vessels and facilities around that. We have this really cool poster if anyone's looking for some sort of stuff, and we can share that with you. I think we're going to move on to you now, Doug, with the UNOLS community.
Yes, yep, sure enough. Thanks, Alice. Thanks for teeing that up so well. So who makes up the user community for UNOLS? It's a unique structure within the global oceanographic community. There's a council that has 10 elected persons on it. They come from both operating and non-operating institutions. The council represents and acts on behalf of the whole UNOLS membership as the governing body of UNOLS. And then there's the UNOLS committees, which are really the backbone of UNOLS, and we'll talk more about that. But it's a community-driven organization. Scientists like yourselves are what keep, and operators are what keep the community thriving. All council and committee positions are volunteers who represent the oceanographic community. The structure is unique within the global oceanographic community, and it's pretty amazing in how it comes together, where this is not your day job. So you do this on top of everything else you're busy doing. The UNOLS and the ship facility operators are just that, those who operate the facilities. And then you have the UNOLS office, which is the facilitator for the fleet. We facilitate community meetings, workshops, keep records, help to promote community initiatives, help disseminate information. And we also do a lot of other duties as assigned. We're kind of like the action arm for the federal agencies in many ways too. We help the UNOLS community get the job done. And of course, none of this could be supported without the funding agencies. NSF, which provides about 66.5% of the funding for UNOLS, ONR 21%, NOAA 10%, and USGS 2.5% of our funding for all our UNOLS activities, meetings and all the other things we do, travel for meetings, things like that. Let's see, I think that's it for this slide. We're going to move on to the next one, which will break down kind of more about the committees. So we have, I think, 9 committees these days, standing committees we call them. Then we have the ship scheduling committee. They deal with all the ship scheduling issues. A very busy group, especially this year. I'll talk much more. I'm going to talk more about that later on. But they're the mechanism for development coordination of the ship schedules in order to assure the most effective and efficient and economic utilization of ships and the associated facilities. This is complex, and as we work with other entities across the world, we're by far the most complex of having up to 18 ships and so many different funding sources in different federal agencies, things like that, and thousands of scientists we deal with. So it's a very big job. Research Vessel Operators Committee, these are the operators of the ships. RVOC promotes cooperation, fleet standards, marine safety, efficiency, and quality of service, along with marine science research and educational institutions. Committee of the Marine Superintendents, the folks who are in charge of the ship's crew and keeping the ship safe, lights on, and the engines running, and dealing with all the regulatory issues related to running ships these days. RV Tech, this is each ship is both a crew who operates the ship, but also the technical staff who are in charge of all the shipboard instrumentation, the scientific equipment, the CTD, the sonars, the shipboard communications, computers, and so much more. Just like RVOC, this is a committee for operators, and this is a committee for the technical staff. And we have RV Tech meetings every year. And this past year, we had like over 200 people involved with it when they come together every fall to compare notes, share best practices, lessons learned, training for each other, things like that. So it's a huge, very vibrant community. And Tara kind of has the leadership for managing all that from our office. The Fleet Improvement Committee works on the fleet. What's today's fleet? What's tomorrow's fleet? How do we keep upgrading the fleet? How do we strategize for where we need to get to in the future? How do we monitor where we are in the life of each one of the ships? And how do we work on figuring out replacement for those? So it's a very important group, thinking long-term and strategically. And they're a very active bunch right now, too, working on a number of issues we'll touch on later on. There's the Arctic Icebreaker Coordinating Committee. This kind of started in the late 90s when the icebreaker Healy was coming online for the Coast Guard, and the polar icebreakers were starting to do some science for scientists. And how do we help the Coast Guard understand the needs of the science community and operating their icebreakers and supporting science? So it's a very, very active group working in Arctic science, especially as we look ahead now. The Coast Guard's going to be building a lot more icebreakers, too. There's a deep submergence group. They deal with Jason, Alvin, and Century, along with other discussions of deep submergence needs and science and how to best support all that. So that's a very active group. Alice kind of runs that from our office, facilitates all that. Marine Science Research, Marine Seismic Research Operating Committee, that's the MSROC. They provide community input on marine seismic science needs and work with the research vessel Marcus G. Langseth. And then the last 5 committees, these are basically populated mostly by scientists like yourselves who are interested in the future for facilities at seagoing sciences. So it's a very important group for the science community to really speak for what they need from ships. And then we also have some other, we have a safety committee that works underneath the RVOC. They basically promote the research vessel safety standards and deal with safety issues. The Arctic Icebreaking Committee, they work with the Coast Guard icebreakers, as I mentioned. Deep Submergence works primarily with NDSF at HUI. We have SCORE, the Scientific Committee for Oceanographic Airborne Aircraft Research, SCORE, which is funded by the Navy. That works primarily with the Navy Postgraduate School, SURPASS, and especially related to operating of the Twin Otter and Pelican aircraft that support airborne research that overlaps with oceanographic research. And then under MSROC, there's also the Ocean Bottom Seismometer Instrument Center group as well. So that's another subcommittee we need to add it to our slide.
We do. So, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Alice.
All right. Yes. And now we'll go to the actual facilities. Go for it, Doug. You keep going.
Okay, we're going to start with the ships. The most preeminent facility within the UNOLS, our fleet of ships. We'll go to the next slide, please. We have 5 global class ships.
Hold on. There we go.
Yep. So we have the sister ships, the Thompson, Revell, and the Atlantis. And there's also a sister ship with NOAA, the Ron Brown. And then there's also the Sikuliak, which is the Arctic ice-capable Arctic research vessel operated by UAF, and then the Langseth, which functions both as a general oceanographic research vessel and a seismic research facility. So these are the fleet, the ships that go far and wide across the world, doing big integrated research programs. Next slide for the ocean class ships. The Kilimon in Hawaii and the Sally Ride, Neil Armstrong, they're kind of global trotting ships as well. Kilimon does a lot of work out of Hawaii as well, supporting the HOT program, the Hawaiian Ocean Time Series. The Atlantic Explorer operates at Bermuda, primarily doing the Bermuda Atlantic Time Series there, BATS, and the hydro station there. But they do other projects too in the Atlantic Basin. Endeavour was recently retired after serving 50 years, and will be replaced soon with the RCRV, which we'll touch on next slide. But these are workhorse ships. They're very busy all year long, doing a lot of important programs, such as OOI in the Atlantic Basin. For Neil Armstrong, and Sally Ride does a whole wide spectrum of cruises up and down in the Central Pacific all the way up to Alaska. So, next slide, please. Regional class vessels, we have the Sharp operating out of Delaware, and then soon we're going to have the three new regional class research vessels, which are funded and being built by the National Science Foundation, with Oregon State leading the way in running the construction program for that. And hopefully late this year, early next year, the first one, Tawny, will be delivered and then brought on transition to a fully capable research vessel. Behind that will become the Narragansett Dawn, operated by University of Rhode Island as part of the East Coast Oceanographic Consortium. And then the Gilbert Mason will be the last of the three, operated by a combination of LUMCON and University of Southern Mississippi under the Gulf Coast Oceanographic Consortium. I probably get the terms a little bit wrong, but the consortiums, but know that there's a whole variety of institutions working together to bring those ships to fruition. And they're badly needed, as we've retired the Wacoma, the Oceanus, and the Endeavour in recent years. So they're going to be very welcome, very highly capable ships coming to the fleet. Next slide, please. And then we get the coastal and local class ships that do the really local work, supporting regional area research, especially the coastal studies. But the Walton Smith in Miami, the Blue Heron in the Great Lakes, our sole ship in the Great Lakes for UNOLS. The Savannah, which was just recently went through a midlife overhaul and extension. The ship down in Savannah, the Sproul out in in San Diego, which Scripps has recently signed a contract to start working on its replacement. And then the Rachel Carson up in Seattle at the University of Washington, which operates in the Pacific Northwest and up into Alaskan waters. Can't forget the Pelican, of course, down in the Gulf Coast, a workhorse across the Gulf for close to 30 years now. So it'll be replaced when the Mason comes online in a few years. So that's our current fleet of ships. Next slide, please. I think I'm covering the fleet.
Great. Yeah. Yep. And I think it's on to me with our national facilities. So in addition to that fleet, a lot of people know about they call it the UNOLS fleet. We don't call it that anymore. It's the academic research fleet. But in addition to those ships, we have a lot of facilities that are available to our oceanographic communities. And a lot of these are what scientists don't know about yet. Some of the big ones, obviously, about. We've got the National Deep Submergence Facility, and that one runs the AUV Sentry, the ROV Jason, and the HOV Alvin. All of them are very, very capable. Soon to be online too is the medium-sized ROV MROV, which doesn't have a name yet, but this is a smaller kind of a Jason Light, we're calling it, and it's able to be run off of smaller vessels, which should be great because it will fill a hole. It's very capable ROV still, but just not as capable as Jason. So that's our National Deep Submergence Facility. And then we have a National Seismic Facility, which is our Marcus G. Langseth, the most incredible seismic ship, academic seismic ship in the world, really. And then finally, we have the National Oceanographic Aircraft Facility, which is run out of the Naval Postgraduate School, and it's essentially now a Twin Otter. So those are our facilities that are outlined in our charter. But in addition to those, let's call them major facilities, we have what we call kind of other facilities. And so there's a whole lot of stuff out there that's available to scientists And some of it is quote unquote free, especially if you're funded through the National Science Foundation. I say free only because they'll pay for it for you. But know that this equipment is out there. We've got a whole bunch of equipment pools. So we've got a portable laboratory van pools. We've got 2 of those, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. They have just about every type of van you'll ever need, portable lab van you'll need, from trace metal clean to there's a new kind of seismic van. I think there's even birthing vans on the West Coast. So any kind of van you need, we've got it. Ocean bottom seismometer. There's a pool of OBSs. This is run out of Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. And they work with Scripps and Lamont in pooling OBS needs and bringing them to science cruises. We have portable winch pools again on the East Coast and the West Coast. If projects need a winch, it's very likely that one of these 2 pools might have the winch that you need. There's wire pools that help facilitate the wire within our fleet. Potential fields, PFPE, potential fields equipment pool. So this is your Maggies and your gravimeters. And then there's MISO, which is a long name, multidisciplinary instrumentation in support of oceanography. The biggest thing, you'll see the list there. The big thing they've been working on of late a lot is putting these cameras on various pieces of equipment to look at. They have MISO cameras on GSON to get really neat images from GSON. They've been putting them on bottom samplers a lot, multi-cores, to help the scientists understand what they're coring before they actually do the coring. So there's a lot of great equipment available there too. And then in addition to these equipment pools, we also have what we'll call like centers of excellence, right? And so we've got the Multi-Beam Advisory Committee, and this committee was put together especially to help the operators make sure we're getting the best data we can out of our multi-beams. So that's a super active committee, especially with the bigger ships. And then we have another group, the University of Hawaii Currents group, that does the same thing, but for ADCPs. Jules out in Hawaii and her team are just incredible. They know that ADCPs are down before sometimes the techs do, and they're there to help the scientists and help the technicians make sure that ADCP data is spot on. We have the R2R group, Rolling Deck to Repository, who is our kind of stewards of our underway data and make sure they get to the repositories and are available. The R2R group is just working on a new FAIR working group to make sure that the data meets the FAIR practices. We have the ODF facility, which is, all things CTD. They have experts in running all kinds of CTD data and going out on cruises and bringing instrumentation to run your oxygen salts, collect samples, all that sort of stuff. We have the MARSAM group, the Marine Sediment Sampling Group, and so they're all things bottom sampling and are now not only coring, but also the dredging center of excellence. And not only do they bring the equipment or send the equipment, but they also send the technical support to support that equipment, which is really important, and to help the scientists make sure they get the best data they can. And then finally, we have a mooring facilities and services run out of Woods Hole. So there's assistance with mooring. There's some equipment in there, and then they can also provide assistance. And the next thing we were going to talk about, Doug, is for you with vessel operations.
Yes. So let's see. So as you can imagine, trying to schedule and assigning ships is a really challenging thing to do here. We've got these 17, 18 ships. We've got 14 operators. We've got various funding sources. With the ships have to operate under different various rules and regulations, which adds complexity. They all fall under the UNOLS umbrella. So we work closely with RVOC. We work with the safety committee. But then, next slide, please. We really have to get into the scheduling, which is really the heart of what UNOLS was established for, and it takes up a lot of work. So trying to figure out how to schedule ships is not easy to do. Scientists put in a request to get a particular time on a ship, which kind of ship you need, when do you need it for, what kind of special facilities you need added to make the cruise successful. These are all things that come together in trying to figure out how do you coordinate for other facilities like Jason or Century. How do you get clearances? So these are all pieces of the story to do this. So we do it, the way we do it is you put your request in VM, Marine Facilities Planning, MFP, which you can see kind of down in the lower corner on the right. And above it is how do you enter in MFP. And you can go via our website, there's links. You go to mfp.us to go in there, and you can request ship time. And that you have to also put in, when you put in your proposal to NSF, you're going to have to put in a ship time request anyway, because they want to know not only the cost you're running your science program, but what it's going to, account for the cost of the ship time. So once we find out that your ship time request, well, your program's been approved and is funded, then the schedulers will look into how to schedule your ship time on a ship. And we kind of work on a calendar year basis in general. The ship schedulers meet regularly, but we always start each year off with a kickoff meeting in the calendar year to figure out what are all the requests for using the ship in the following calendar year. So for example, we're going to meet here in the coming weeks to talk about 2027 calendar year ship scheduling. And so the ship schedulers will already take their time. Each operator has their own ship scheduler, and they will look at what requests are in the system that are funded that are requesting to use their ship or might apply to their ships. Whether it's like, for example, at Scripps, whether it would work for the Ravel, the Side Ride, or the Sproul, depending what region they think the ships will be operating in the coming year. And so then the schedules will spend time drafting together, trying to piece together ship schedules that are optimal for efficient use of the ships and can effectively support the science in the timeframes he wants to do. For example, if you're worried about, algal blooms you're trying to capture, or you're working in the ice season to capture certain ice conditions, or you're avoiding hurricane season, or you're working around academic schedules for your science party. All these things go into the consideration when you put in your request for ship time. And the ship schedulers will sit down and figure out together, and particularly for the big ships where this is really complicated, where the overlaps are and how do we best use the ships that go to certain regions. So which ship will go to the Western Pacific, for example, which one will stay in the Atlantic Basin, which one will work down in the Central Pacific area for a while. So ships aren't zigzagging back and forth across the oceans in between cruises. How do you kind of get cruises done as you swing from back and forth across the ocean basins? Those schedulers, like especially for UW and Scripps and Hui and Hawaii and Alaska Fairbanks, also in Lamont Doherty, will sit down and talk like every 2 weeks at least to go, hey, we're working on this. What do you think about this? Can you help with this? Or should we shift it around so you carry the brunt of these cruises if you can, while our ship goes somewhere else? There's a lot of give and take with that. There's a lot of trying to balance it all to get the most efficient schedules. We also have frequent interaction with the federal agencies to understand prioritization. I mean, there are general priorities in general for scheduling for the big ships. For example, there's ongoing major infrastructure programs like OOI you've got to support. The NSF is very committed to supporting ghost ships, so there's always trying to fit in a ghost ship cruise or two each year. We also work closely with NOAA because they do some ghost ship work. So how do we do that? Then we also look at which cruises have been waiting longer to get into a ship. Some cruises get deferred because you can't fit them all in every year. So then you go to the top of the list for the following year, maybe, and figure out how do we handle all those. So there's a lot of trying to figure these things out. Do you have a program that's in the second year of a 3-year program, or do you have to pick up instrumentation off the ocean bottom because the batteries are wearing out? Those are all things the schedulers are looking at as they try to piece together these schedules, which are extremely complex for the big ships. How do you get Jason from the Atlantic all the way over to the middle of the Pacific to go between ships, for example? So that goes on in the scheduling process goes on for months and months. And then hopefully by the time we get in a normal year, I always say last year was a very abnormal year with the change in administration and the unknowns about funding. But the schedules will work and try to get to a reasonably firm schedule, or at least a reasonably practical schedule sometime in the spring and communicate with the PIs about, I think he can get you onto the ship. Will this generally work for you? If they haven't already had a discussion with you. Or they may be going, we can't fit this person on this year. We have to start communicating to the PI. We can't do you this year for all these reasons. Or do you have more flexibility than we thought we had to try to fit you in a different way into their scheduling program? So there's a lot of engagement, a lot of give and take. There's a lot of what ifs. I mean, I can tell you the schedulers work through so many different possible scenarios in their schedules. I will tell you sometimes they do 20 to 30 variations of the schedule, trying to accommodate as many science programs as they can, how to piggyback them together, how to squeeze them a little here, a little there to try to maximize utilization of the ship while also balancing all the other things the ship operators have to do, like ship inspections they have to do, the Coast Guard, NSF inspections, Navy inspections, shipyard availabilities they have to go to. Twice in every 5 years, the big ships have to be in dry dock. They go through major inspections with the American Bureau of Shipping and the Coast Guard as well when they're doing in dry dock. They have to do engine overhauls. They have to do grooming of all of the sensitive systems, the sonars and things like that regularly to make sure they perform optimally in support of science. So all that gets balanced together by the schedulers between the operational needs as well as the science needs. And what's the optimum utilization of the ship for the year? Like for the global ships, they aim for in the 275 to 300 day range per year. The ocean class ships are a little smaller than that. I mean, a little less than like 250 to 280 days a year, because it's just a crew utilization, maintenance capable, maintain maintenance of the ships, things like that, all figure into that. So it's a very complicated process, but there's a lot of give and take in with you, with you as a PI. As they go to work to firm up the schedules. And we hope during the summer we start working on all the really details of the schedules to finalize them. So in September we can publish them in a normal year. Last year was a very unusual year, and we're still finalizing schedules actually for 2026 right now because all the funding unknowns, as I'm sure you're well familiar with dealing with the funding for NSF, NOAA, ONR, and even state levels and things like that. So it's been a very odd year. So I think I kind of went and hopefully gave you a good picture what the scheduling process is like. Next slide, Alice. And then we also, changing gears quickly, the safety committee is very active as well. This is why our fleet is different. We operate to a higher degree of safety than others because we have students aboard, very inexperienced people. We have scientists who are not sailors. And we want to make sure you are safe and your instrumentation is protected as best we can out at sea. So safety is paramount in the UNOLS community. And so we have a safety committee. They keep these RVSS, the safety standards up to date. Matter of fact, they're updating them right now, working on updates to the over-the-side handling system requirements in Appendix A and Appendix B. Next slide, please.
Right. I think now we're on to Tara, and she's going to tell us about technicians on board.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about technicians. I feel like the technicians and the crew are sort of the heart of the vessel. Without them, the ship doesn't run and you can't deploy your instruments. So it's really important to have technicians on board. If you can click forward. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So there's several different types of technicians. So there's institution-based technicians. These technicians are dedicated technicians that work at specific institutions. So they'll work on the same ships. They're very familiar with the equipment that gets deployed on those ships and how those vessels operate. Next. Then there's tech sharing. So amongst the fleet, we try to promote collaborative tech sharing so that technicians can work on other vessels, get used to other ships, and kind of do a little bit of cross-training as well. So not only do they get to experience their own vessel, they get to experience what it's like to work on another vessel, which may have different operating, not standards, but ways.
Models.
Yeah, models. Then there's the tech pool technicians. So these are technicians that are available by NSF. So you can request a tech pool technician as needed. And they kind of help support or fill in gaps in the fleet. So if there's a shortage or you need a specialized tech, you can contact the tech pool for that. And as mentioned here, there's specialized technicians. So if you have a piece of equipment like dredges or coring equipment or even moorings that require someone who has a little bit more specialized knowledge, we can help find those specialized techs for your crews. And then under the technicians is the Research Vessel Technical Enhancement Committee. And like ship operators who have their own committee, this committee is for the technicians, and it's a place where they can share different things about equipment, sonar, best practices, cyber infrastructure. And so this committee it's very active. There's, like I said, we have a meeting annually, and last year was one of the biggest held at Scripps, and there were close to 200 folks that participated in that meeting. And it's just a place for folks to kind of really exchange ideas related to sort of technical aspects of a ship. Next slide. Oh, and yeah, and if you would like to join the RV Tech listserv, that's our primary channel. So a lot of conversations happen here. It can be anything from I'm having issues here, and someone help me? It's a great way to share amongst the community kind of issues that are happening, questions you might have, or hey, has anyone else seen this? Because this is happening on my ship, and it sparks a lot of interesting conversations. So if you're interested,
Absolutely.
please join the listserv.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then just going into the tech pool, I help run the tech pool. It was established in 2008. It started out with 2 technicians, so it was really just kind of a small thing, and it was to fill in gaps amongst the fleet. As you know, a lot of the ships operate with a 2-tech model or a 3-tech model, and sometimes family emergencies happen, things happen, and you need an extra tech. So either we try to look for a tech exchange or we have tech pool. And these technicians are actually subcontractors that are contracted out through Texas A&M. And a lot of folks in the tech pool actually really enjoy the flexibility. They can go to different ships, they can work with different people, they can learn. I guess the only downside might be that the work is a little inconsistent, but sometimes that's the draw to the tech pool. The tech pool has seen significant growth. We now have over 60 folks in the tech pool. So if you need a technician, let me know. There's people dying to work out there. And it is a fully functional and well-utilized program. So yeah, woohoo, tech pool.
Yeah, thanks, Tara. That's great. And last but not least, are a lot of you on this call, and that's our scientists that within the UNOLS community. And so, we have a very large science community. And as we said before, there's over 1,000 seagoing scientists annually. And then we have several that we call kind of the science-driven committees, I should say. And so the committees listed here, which Doug has already gone through, so I won't go through them all again, but these are mostly driven by the science community. And those committees specifically help drive those particular areas of expertise forward. And so each of these committees, as Doug said too, is there's volunteers, and we appreciate everyone's time, but they are very important as moving our community forward. And so we thank you all for being a part of it. Just note that the different committees have different requirements. And so when you see a call for nominations, kind of read through it. Certain committees require you to be a UNOLS member, certain don't. There's different qualifications. So just read through them, but we look forward to seeing you all throw your names in the hat for and our different call for nominations. And then outreach and education, we have a really strong outreach and education. We have chief scientist training cruises, thanks mostly to NSF and ONR, that happen on a kind of now and then basis. We haven't had some in a while just because of some uncertainties, but these are really important to help train the chief scientists of the future. There's the desk and the desk committee and the MSROC both have new user programs. And so these programs are to introduce new users, potentially new deep submergent scientists or new marine seismic facility folks, and introduce them to the community and kind of break down that barrier and make it not so scary, essentially. And so they get to meet really experienced scientists and also funding agencies, different organizations there. And those two have been really successful and just kind of like I said, breaking down those barriers and making introductions. There's the SEMCs program, which we help facilitate. And if you don't, it's for undergraduates and introducing them to life at sea. It's an awesome program. If you don't know anything about it, I'd look it up. And then the MATE program within the last year or so, a couple of years, I guess, has come under the UNOLS umbrella, the Marine Advanced Technology Education. And so this has been a highly successful program where undergraduates or recently graduated undergraduates come and intern on the ships as marine technicians. A lot of these technicians then end up getting hired into the fleet. And so it's been great for the technicians and also great for the ships because they kind of can see what they're getting before they get it. And if you have a MATE internship on their resume, it's very helpful to the operators. And so finally, we have the Cruise of Opportunity program, and this is where scientists, if they have extra berths on their cruise, they can let us know, and we try to fill that berth with someone that will meet their needs. And this is great because it helps, it uses the ship to its fullest, right? It gives ship time to folks that might not be able to get ship time normally. So I really encourage, if you do have cruises coming up and you have open berths, work with us and we can try to find ways to utilize that time well. And so we only have a few more minutes, Doug, but Doug was going to talk about where we're focused on these days. Go for it, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Alice and Tara. So you can see we're involved in many things in the oceanographic research community, and because we serve a broad spectrum of scientists. We support, a broad spectrum of operators and also the federal agencies. So we just want to kind of give you a flavor of kind of things we focus on and what value UNOLS brings, So we're working currently on some major issues like supporting ocean science, considering the evolving federal priorities. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We do community advocacy, for the oceanographic research community. So we can help to inform others, especially like policymakers and appropriators, about the value of what this and the importance of this research is and what's needed to keep it going. We talk about fleet recapitalization. That's, what are we doing in the future to replace the ships at age? They don't stay young forever, and eventually you have to replace them. And like we talked earlier with the Fleet Improvement Committee, you have to upgrade them, but then you have to replace them sooner or later. Science capability recommendations for future vessels. That's another piece of recapitalization I'll touch on briefly. We're constantly working on updating the safety standards because it's evolving complexities. Just one quick example is how do you deal with lithium batteries? And that keeps changing how to deal with that. But it's an important piece of what we do. And we promote early career scientist opportunities, just like Alice was just touching on a few minutes ago. And I'll add in there, we also have done recently Arctic Chief Scientist training cruises too, even on the Coast Guard ship and on the Sekuliak, just to kind of give you an idea how important we continue to focus on early career scientists, development and growth, so they could be the leaders of tomorrow for science cruises. Next slide, please. So, how are we doing these things and work in these areas I just touched on? So, the ship schedules have been updated constantly to reflect on the federal funding outlook and eventual appropriations. So as the budgets have been in turmoil. The schedulers have been busy doing constantly like, okay, you can't do very much because we don't expect very much money. Okay, now we've got some more money. Expand the schedules. Oh, now we got funded, and now it's going to be we're going to do better. The schedulers are now revamping schedules yet again now that we have a better funding outlook. So it gives you an idea, how busy and active our community is, and we're meeting constantly with the schedulers to deal with that. We, the UNOLS office, provide a lot of data and data analysis related to fleet, especially to fleet utilization, to help support either the federal agencies and their budget requests or advocacy on our behalf of our community. So as the government relations teams for the institutions and RECOS, which Layla just touched on. And thank you very much, Layla, in the chat, talking about how they can advocate on behalf of the community, advocate for proper funding and also for fleet upgrades and recapitalization down the road. We help do a lot of that data analysis because we have all the requests in, the ship utilization, things like that, the age of the ships, things. And so we track all that in the UNOLS office. Alice is the data queen, and fortunately for doing all that. We work and support the Fleet Improvement Plan updating, which the Fleet Improvement Committee is dealing with right now. How do we refresh our Fleet Improvement Plan regularly to tell the story where the fleet is now and what does it need to be in the future to support what the scientists see they're going to need in the future. So that's an active thing we do. We promote, we provide input to federal shipbuilding plans to make sure we include oceanographic research vessels. A lot of that's being done right now through RECOS, as Layla touched on. So your government relations representatives for your institutions can be involved with that. If you've got questions, you can reach out to RECOS, reach out to Layla. Or you can reach out to our office. We can put you in contact with them. We need strong advocacy on the Hill to help keep promoting the need to invest in our community. The Fleet Improvement Committee is reviewing current government shipbuilding programs to see their suitability for new research vessels in our fleet. So, for example, the Fleet Improvement Committee has reviewed recently new NOAA construction programs, or Class A. They're Class B ships, now they're new Class A ships, to see are they suitable possibly for utilization in our fleet if we were to build additional ships and then use them in our fleet. So that's kind of work we're doing. A subcommittee, it's a temporary one we didn't talk about, but AMRCC, Arctic Marine Research Capabilities Committee, was assembled last year, charged by NSF, ONR, the Arctic Research Commission, to put together requirements for the science community for future government icebreakers, which now are going to be the Coast Guard's Arctic security cutters. Well, now that committee is providing new science mission requirements for those ships in the future, so we can have a robust Arctic research community program up there. Because the Healy is not going to be around forever. The primary ship for doing that, from the Coast Guard side, and the Sikuliak can do certain things, but we want more capability than that, given the importance of the Arctic. So that's just another example of how UNOLS can be flexible to support the community and be the advocate to the federal government on what the scientific community needs to continue doing research for the next 30 years. We provide engagement with other entities to provide input on federal budget plans. That's kind of like the RECOS discussion. The Safety Committee continues to update their RVSS, special respect to over-the-side handling systems and harassment prevention. That's an very important piece. We didn't even touch on MARAS earlier, the Maintaining an Environment Respect Aboard Ships Committee, which is a full-time committee, but that we also work on making sure we provide the best climate for scientists, students, science parties, and our crews, so they can thrive when they go to sea in our ships and work together in the best environment. Early career scientist programs like MAID internships, MC, early chief scientist training, crews and events. That's a big part of what the UNOLS office does. That's a constant engagement we have. And we're also working a lot more, trying to be more pro social media, so the world can, we highlight what our community does, so hopefully the world understands even better about the important work you do and the successes you're having out there. And this is all accomplished through committees, the council chair efforts, and the UNOLS office projects. All this works. We all work together, and we couldn't do it at all without your volunteer work, especially in these committees. The scientists and then the operators do the same thing. There's techs, and there's there's marine superintendents that volunteer to help out in these programs. And there's ship captains and things like that that also participate in these things. Marine technicians. Next slide, Alice. So it's a community thing. We all have ownership of this, and we couldn't do it together without having a good community. So we really appreciate everybody's, and just the fact you're here today shows your interest in how you help out. And so we really thank you for taking the time to do this. And, with you working with us, you help drive us to better successes. And our office loves being the coordinator and facilitator of this. We live to do this. together. And so we're excited to be part of the solution. And
Great.
Allison, I think that's it,
I think
right?
that's it. Yeah, I guess the last thing, I can't stress enough about the community. And we are what drives our community forward, right? And so thank you all, like Doug said, for being here. And we also want to help share your stories. So if you have social media, anything from social media you want shared on social media, or if you're have an active channel, we'd love to promote your channels. I don't know much about social media. So, but we do have people who do, Stephanie there. And so contact Stephanie or media@unols.org, and we would love to work together to promote our community. So we're 1 minute over, and if people need to leave, great. I'm going to stop sharing. That's totally great. If people have questions, we'd love to answer questions too. Is there anything out there right now?
Yeah, I was
No.
asking in the chat earlier whether the slides will be shared among the attendees.
Absolutely. Yes, we have the recording and the slides. And so we will share both of those to all the UNOLS representatives and all the attendees here for sure.
Great, thank you.
And these, yeah, and we have if you think any of these slides would be useful for graduate students, or we've had some representatives share these with their graduate students or have presentations at their institutions. We highly promote that. We're happy to do that too. Through Zoom, or if we happen to be in where you are. So if you need other information about UNOLS, we're here. Any other questions? Oh, Brandy, go ahead.
I have a question. It's just kind of building on and maybe just clarifying what we talked about at the annual meeting about the non-academic research fleet, availability of boats that are, institutionally owned. What is the process of, of having your facility or boat as a part of that? Is there something formal that needs to happen, or is that something that's even recommended?
I'll be glad to answer that. And
Go
thanks
for
for
it,
that
Doug.
question, Brandy. So if you're in, so we, there are ships that are part of the academic research fleet. They go through an application process to do that. If you're interested in doing that, and there's a lot of aspects of that. You have to do. If you go to our website and you go on, there is a spot, and we can send it to you for application to become part of the academic research fleet. But you have to follow like the business processes for NSF for your budgeting and things like that. You go through ship inspections, things like that. If you just want to keep operating as a non-academic research fleet vessel, then we can list your ship. We have also a list of all of those kind of vessels that operated, utilized and operated by the non-UNOLS ship operators. And so we'd be glad to advertise your boat for you. Basically it's a place people can come click on, and then they just contact you directly if they want to use your vessel and work with your team to do that. If you're on that list, it's kind of expected you try to, as best you can, operate your vessel in accordance with the RVSS, because we're trying to make sure we operate at a higher level of safety. And so not every boat can do that. We understand that, but at the same time, there are some fundamental safety things in our safety standards that people should be striving for. So you'll get asked about that. But that's the beauty of what you're doing, is like you're already kind of telling the world we operate to a little bit higher standard as a part of UNOLS. So you've got two different avenues the way you can work.
Yeah, that definitely would be the second, the latter.
Right.
But so there's not a formal application, it's more of an informal discussion. Okay.
Right. You can just reach out to the office and say we'd like to have our vessel, as part of that list of vessels that are available by UNOLS members.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll give you end up providing a link so people can link directly to your ship and how they request time in your vessel.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Sure.
Great. Any other questions? I know we're over time now. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Like I said, we'll send these slides around. We will send a recording, or at least a link to the recording, around to everyone. I hope it was worth your hour. And if you have any improvements or questions in the future, suggestions for us, we're all ears.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks
Yeah,
everybody.
thanks
Take care. Hi, Rod. Oh, he's gone. Rod was my first boss in oceanography.
I kind of figured that, yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah, it
Doug,
was
what are you
great.
doing for your birthday now? Please say you're going to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out in a little bit and go for a walk. And it's a beautiful day in the Seattle
Yay.
area, and go out to dinner. So yeah, it's all good.
Good.
Nothing
Good.
dramatic.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
No, I feel like we're past the dramatic birthday age.
Yeah. I dragged my carcass to the gym this morning, so I still did that. So it was good.
Oh, good for you.